Hey everyone, hope you all are doing well. Welcome back in our reasoning series. Till date, we have uploaded 3 videos on this series about how to count the figures types of problems, in which we came across various triangles, squares and rectangular figures. If you haven't gone through those videos yet, then link is given in the I button, so make sure you go and check them out as well after watching this video. So starting from today, we are going to tackle the problems based on the repetitive series questions. So get ready with your pen and paper because from today we start a new chapter, the repeating series. As we know, in the repeating series questions, we have to deduce a pattern of letters given to us and then choose the correct option among given 4. To do so, without having to blindly just go for trial and error, we have a simple trick to these questions. And so, let's try to use that trick starting from a question 1. Pause the video to give it a try by yourself and try to choose the correct option. Pause the video right now. So, let's see how it's solved. In order to tackle these type of questions, follow these steps. First, we count the total number of letters that will be present in the series given. So when we count, we get 12 letters in the series. Now, the next step is we write the factors for the total we got. Here, we got 12 total letters in the series. So, the useful factors that would help us in solving this type of problem will be 2, 3, 4 and 6. Remember, 1 and 12 will prove of no use in solving these questions. That's why we exclude those two factors. Now, what good would these factors do to us? So these factors represent the ways in which we can group these letters. So we can group these letters in group of 2, 3, 4 or 6. The trick here is, in order to choose the perfect grouping of these letters, you have to observe the series and try to group those numbers such that you are getting a sort of a similar pattern within them. So let's say we make a group of 6 letters in this series. So we get an exact 2 halves of the series. Now, if you observe, there are somewhat similarities in both halves of the series. As you can see, the last 2 letters, that is BA of the second series, are matching with the first half of the series. Similarly, the B letters positioning is matching with the first half of the series letters positioning of B. Now, this means that wherever the blank spaces appears, both halves of the series show a correct similarities within them. Which means, in the first half, as we can see, it starts with an A. The second half of the series should also start with an A because both the halves are exactly similar to each other. And now, keeping this in mind, we can deduce that the blank spaces in both the halves will show similarity with each other, which is the first blank space will now show the similarity with the fourth one, and the second blank space will show a similarity with the fifth one. Now, as we come to the options, there are only 2 options that are matching our requirements, that is first and second option. We know that the first, fourth and second and fifth blank space will be having similar letters within them. So keeping this in mind, we can clearly say that option B is the only option that is satisfying our requirements. Thus, option B, that is BB, ABB, is the correct option in this case. And thus, we complete our series perfectly. Was this a complex one? If you felt so, let's take one more example to get this more clear. Let's try to decode this repeating series. So first, we count total number of letters present in the series. And we can count 15 letters present in this series. Now, we factorize 15 as 3 and 5. The 3 and 5 factor suggests that we can divide these letters into a group of 3 or group of 5. Let's say we divide this series into group of 3. After dividing this series in group of 3, we can see that the first and fifth group has same letters dash double B dash double B. Also, if we look at alternate groups, that is group 1, 3 and 5, we see a pretty much similarity in them. Thus, as groups 1, 3 and 5 are similar in nature, so the letters involved in them will also be similar. So we can fill the blank spaces with letters M and B, and we get MBB, MBB and MBB in first, third and fifth group. Now, as we take a look at second and fourth group, we have M-A in both the cases. But what could be the letter that would be present in this group? For that, we directly compare this with the options given, and we can see that there are only two possible options that start with M. If we look closer, then we want an option that must satisfy M-B-M criteria, and only option C does that work. So thus M-A-B-A-M option C is the most perfect fit for this repeating series example, and thus we complete a series as MBB, MAA, MBB, MAA, MBB. Let's see one more example to get a better command over this. Try to choose the correct option for this one now. Pause the video right now to give it a try by yourself. When you're ready, continue with the video. Did you get the answer? Let's see how it's solved. First, we count the total number of letters present in the series, and here we get 16 letters. Next, we write the factors of 16 and we get 2, 4 and 8. These factors represent that we can group these 16 letters in groups of 2, 4 or groups of 8. Let's try to group the series in groups of 2. By doing so, we can clearly see that first, third, fifth and seventh, or the odd number of groups, are similar, more exactly same in nature, as they all will have double A in them. So we can easily fill the blank spaces with the letter A. As we take a look at the even groups, that is groups containing double B, dash C, D dash and E dash. Now, by filling those two A's in the odd groups, we can now say we want an option that matches our condition of A dash, A dash, dash. And if we take a look at those options, there is only one option that is matching our requirement, and thus we can simply tick the option 1 and complete our series as double A, double B, double A, double C, double A, double D, double A, double E. And by choosing this option, we complete our series successfully. Are we building up confidence or not? If your answer is still no, let's take a look at one more example. Now, try to decode this series. Pause the video right now to give it a try. So, did you try? Well, I admit that deciding in how many groups the series must be divided needs a little more of practice and a little bit of experience, but let's just try to solve this question from our usual techniques. First, we count total number of letters in the series, and here we again have 16 letters. Step 2, write factors of 16, 2, 4 and 8. Now, let's just say we divide the series in groups of 2. Even if you are unsure that a group of 2 would not work in this case, but still, just give it a try. Maybe it would be of a little help. By dividing the series in groups of 2, we can see group 1, 3, 5 and 7 seems kind of similar in nature. If we fill those blanks with letters A, then the entire odd groups will be exactly same in nature, which means we will have double A in all the odd groups. Now, when we take a look at even groups, that is 2, 4, 6 and 8th group, we can see somewhat a similar kind of pattern within them. Suppose we say in group 2 and 6, if those blank spaces are filled with B and C, then the series would end up as similar letter series, just like the previous one. But when we take a look at the remaining even group pairs, we see they are not similar, but both the even groups have distinct letters like BC and DE. So we can deduce that the remaining even blank spaces will not have same letters as their partner letters. So they must contain somewhat different letters. If we take a look at the options, then in order to make a guess, the options must satisfy the form of dash AA dash A, which we already filled up in the odd spaces of a series. Now, when we take a closer look at the options, we see only one option that's matching our required form, that is option B. So if we try to substitute option B in a series, we get the series as AA AB, AA BC, AA CD and AA DE, which is actually going in sync with a series. And thus, we again solved this problem with very ease. Did you find it tough or not? I know this type of repeating series problems needs a little bit of experience and little bit of practice in order to get used to them, but after solving at least 10 or 12 examples simultaneously, you will get a perfect command over it. Now, let's try to take one more example in this video. Try to decode this series now. Pause the video to give it a try by yourself. Now, as you look at this question, there are 5 letters involved in the series A, B, C, D and E. So there is entirely a different pattern going on in this series. Now, let's try to deduce what the actual pattern is going on here. First, we count total number of letters in this series. And we get 16 letters in this series. Then, we write the factors of 16, that is 2, 4 and 8. Now, this time, let's group the series into groups of 4. For this one, let's try to observe this series starting from the right end of the series. As you can see, here we have E-ED, D-C, D-, C-CB and B-A. If we compare the last two groups, that is group 3 and 4, we can try to deduce that the first and third letters of the group, as seen from right hand side of the series, are same, and thus the second and fourth letters should also be same. As we have E-E in the fourth group and D-CD in the third group, this represents that first and third letters must be same in the series. So if we apply the similar logic to the second and fourth letters, that is dash ED and in third group CD dash, the letters in the blank spaces should be D in the fourth group and C in the third group. So we get ED and DC in fourth and third group. If we apply the similar logic in the second and first group, then we can easily say that the missing letters in the remaining 3 positions will be B, A and B. And thus, now if we look at the series, we get AB, BC, CD and DE as a complete series. By matching it with our options available, option B is a correct match for this series, and thus we didn't even need to look at the options in order to solve this series. So from this example, you can say that you can deduce the patterns of such series if you start from the right hand side of the series. That is, if you go backwards in such series, you might find it quite easy to tackle these problems. So thus, keeping this in mind, let's try to solve this type of question in this series. So, step 1. Count the total number of letters present in the series. And here we get 20 letters. Now, factorizing 20, we get 2, 4, 5 and 10 as its useful factors. Now, let's divide the series in group of 10 letters. So we have only 2 groups here, and if you observe it properly, both the halves of the series appear quite similar in nature. So if we try to use similarity concept on both these halves, we might be able to deduce this series even without looking at the options. Let's try to do so. If we see in the first half, the starting letters are G, F, E. Taking a look at the second half, by the similarity concept, we can say that the second half can also start with the letter G, and we can get G, F, E, I as the start of the second half. Again, Using the similarity concept, in the first half of this series, we can assign the first blank spot with the letter I again. And if we do so, G, F, E, I will be the similar letters in both half of the series. Again, if you observe closely, G, F, E, I, G can be very similar to the second half's G, F, E, I dash G if we substitute I in the second half also. Again, if we continue further, in the second half, G, F, E, I, G, F will be similar to the first half if the second blank space is taken up by the letter F. So now we have solved till G, F, E, I, G, F. Now, finally when we see that there is only one blank space left, and till now both half of the series have been very similar to each other. And thus, by filling up the last blank space with the letter E, we finally get both the halves same as each other. And thus, our entire series is now G, F, E, I, G, F, E, I, G, F, E, I, G, F, E, I. And so, we didn't even need to look at the options in order to give a match to our answer. And so, this one is the correct option in this case. Now, let's take a look at the final question of today's video. Are you ready? Here you go. Pause the video to give it a try. When you're ready, continue with the video. Done? Let's see how it's solved. As you would have counted the total number of letters in the series, you would have got the total as 17. And unfortunately, 17 doesn't have any smaller factors. It's a prime number. And thus, this is why it's the most important question of today's video, because this is one special type of question. In such cases, if you encounter say 17 letters in such series, then the series could be actually broken in either 15 letters or 16 letters of series, which means the pattern might be happening in the first 15 letters or first 16 letters. So let's try to check in both of these cases. Let's check the first 15 letters case. Here we have two useful factors of 15, that is 3 and 5. So let's break down the series in groups of 5 letters. So here we get 3 groups. Now there is one more most important thing that you must remember in this case. In such questions, the question is often cycled between A, B, C. That is, you will see a cyclic relationship between A, B and C letters. Keeping this in mind, let's observe our broken down series. If we look at the second group, we have AA dash BB. If we take a look at the third group, it says dash BC dash B. If we bring in the cyclic letter concept, then in second group, the blank space will be taken up by the letter B and we would get AA B AA. If we take a look at the third group, by similar logic in the second, we can say blank spaces can be filled up by the letters B again. So it would exactly match the second group like this, double B C double B. As second and third group are matching in sense of pattern with each other, let's apply the same in the first group. Here we have C dash AC dash. So by the cyclic letter concept, we can say in the first two blank spaces, we can allot letter C in them and we get double C A double C. And finally, if we take a look at the entire series, we get double C A double C, double A B double A, double B C double B double C. And when we take a look at the options, then option C is the correct one. And thus, this is how we solve this really important question. Remember this in mind. In this question, that you must remember are the cyclic letter concept, that the A, B and C might be used in a cyclic manner in such questions, and you might break down this 17 letters series into 15 or 16 letter series and then try to deduce the pattern in this question. And this is it everybody, this is it in today's episode. But the questions are not over yet, that's why I'll be making part 2 of the repeating series, So stay tuned for it. I will be uploading it real soon. Till then, make sure you drop your feedbacks in the comment section below. Don't forget to press that subscribe button and hit the bell icon beside it in order to get notified on the content of this channel. Also, if you feel like, press the thumbs up button. It would really help me boost my confidence and also help me with the YouTube algorithm. Also, make sure you share this video among your friends and keep practicing by making your very own notes. I'll meet you in next episode. Until then, keep learning, keep upskilling. See ya.